fails to take into account, or at least doesn't address directly, like, how do we actually do this while I need to get dinner on the table every night and actually make things happen? And this is great if I could, go and sit on a rock and meditate for hours, but like, I got shit to do and kids screaming. Like, so I really try to bring in the practical with this more like spiritual and intentional.
Welcome to the Phase 4 podcast, inspired by Vishen Lakhiani and Ajit Nawalkar, co-founders of EverCoach, a division of Vine Valley. In this podcast, we speak to coaches and creatives about where they were, where they are, and where they are going. This is the intersection of what we focus on expands, and your story is your superpower. My guest today is Emilie Karun. She's a life and success coach, and today she's going to talk about that and much more. Emilie, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely grateful. I kind of like to begin with just tell us a little bit more about yourself and how did you end up in this space?
Yeah, so I am a wife and a mom of 4. And I'm a life and success coach for moms who want it all, who don't want to sacrifice anything, who are juggling motherhood and their dreams and trying to do it all without going crazy and losing themselves. And I ended up here because, like most coaches, it was kind of my story. I thought I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I thought motherhood alone would be enough, quit my career. And I was a stay-at-home mom for over a decade, about 12 years. And it was not all that I expected it to be. Of course, love my children, but I wanted so much more. And I felt really torn and conflicted on what that was and how to manage that, navigate that. And so kind of started my own journey into it, started blogging about it, and then eventually started a business to help other moms kind of find their way, and have been doing this for about 5 years now.
That's awesome. I think there's something really big in there, right? Like, I think I find this with moms a lot, that's their purpose. And then 20 years later, they're lost and they're confused. And it's because they put all of it into that and then they don't have a plan for after.
Right. And we're really kind of led to, I was anyways, led to believe that was like the greatest thing I could give to the world was to be a mother, that if I just did that, then I would be fulfilled in every other way. Like it was the one thing that would be everything. And I really bought into that hook, line, and sinker. And not that motherhood isn't incredibly fulfilling, but looking back, it's kind of ridiculous to think that would be the most fulfilling thing for every woman everywhere. And so, yeah, I think a lot of us just, we want to be good moms and we want to show up for our kids. And so we go all in and we lose ourselves. And then we wake up one day when they're grown and gone or have moved on and don't know who we are. And so I'm glad I figured that out before that point. But yeah, a lot of women most of the women I know and work with are kind of waking up in their mid-30s and 40s, and they're like, how did I get here? And what do I actually really want? And how do I reconcile all of these seemingly conflicting things?
Enter Emilie, success coach.
That's right. Enter me. Yep, exactly.
And then, so what would happen? There's the beginning of a conversation you would have with somebody.
Well, it depends on the individual woman, but it's really around helping women sort of see how they got where they are, to recognize, and everyone's different, but what they want versus what they think they should want, or who they really are versus who they think they should be. There's often a very big disconnect in those two, which is why we do all the things we're supposed to do, and then we wonder why we're not happy or why we're not fully so satisfied. It's because we've got really good at playing a game, the game of life, by rules that were really never designed for us to win. So we start by really kind of dismantling that and looking at, who are you really? What do you really want? Why do you think you can't have what you want? And start kind of unlearning, peeling back all of these stories and layers and identities and beliefs and things to kind of get to the root of, hey, who are you and what do you actually want? And let's build something from that. Versus I'm terrified that if I'm my real self, which most women don't even know who that woman is because they've been being someone else since they were like 10 years old. But really kind of reconstructing a life from the inside out versus the sort of outside in that we've been doing.
Yeah, I love it. When you were talking there, that's what I was thinking, inside, outside. What do they want?
Yeah.
What they want to be is the inside, and what everyone told them they're supposed to be on the outside. And we hear these things, right? Little girls should be seen, not heard, and all these
Oh, yeah.
stories that it's so easy to take in. I have young children, 7 and 9, and you can see it. Like they're just
Mm-hmm.
taking it in, right? And it's like, oh
Right.
man.
Well, and I always say, look, so I have 4 kids. I have 3 boys who are and then my daughter is the youngest, and she's 9 now. But I used to say, she really helped me articulate this so I started my blog when she was probably like 2 or 3, and started really finding my voice and ideas and thoughts around this. And she really helped me articulate it because I could see it in her, the abandon for like who she was. She knew who she was. She knew what she wanted. She didn't care if you liked it. She didn't care if she hurt your feelings. The way she dressed, the crazy outfits, the audacious things that came out of her mouth. There's no filter. There's no thinking about, how is this going to be perceived, or what am I supposed to do? Or it was just all her all the time. And obviously there's an element of we do need to kind of become functioning adults in society. And yet to see that fire in her and to know that we all had that. We all had that just, I am me without all the extra thoughts. I eat what I want, I dress how I want. And that as we get older and we go to school and grandma starts telling us to kind of tone it down, right? Color in the lines, don't hurt this person's feelings. And we get rewarded for abandoning ourselves, and we get punished for being our true selves. And so we really learn that who we are isn't allowed, isn't safe, isn't preferred. And then we get really good at conforming to who the world wants from a very early age.
So then we become someone who we're actually not. And then later on in life, we realize that that's not who we are. And then that's when troubles can begin to happen.
Yeah. And the parts that make this even more complicated is not only are we not living as our fullest self. I don't think women are walking around being like, oh, I'm pretending to be this person and I have this sort of secret identity that I'm hiding. It's not malicious. It's not intentional. It's not even conscious most of the time. But we've gotten so good at kind of feeling out like what people want from us and who we need to be that I don't think we even know who we really are and what we really want. And if we have glimpses of her, we have made that person fundamentally unlovable, not worthy, bad. Like we so incredibly distrust ourselves. Everything from like, I need to go to the bathroom. We'll be like, no, you have to wait. You don't have time. Or I'm hungry. Like, no, you're not. You're too fat. I'm tired. Nope, sorry, stuff to do. Like we won't even listen to our most basic needs. So of course we can't do it for other things, for things like career and parenting and motherhood, because we can't trust ourselves to know when we want to eat. So it's this fractured from our self and the way we operate in the world. And it's really starts within.
Yeah, it's always an inside job. I love it. So what would maybe it look like to work with you? I guess I'm going like, do you do groups, one-on-one, workshops, webinars, whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so I've really done it all. When I first started, I did primarily one-on-one for the first few years and really got to know that woman well and worked with her. And then I started offering groups. So I have now a lot of courses and self-study things that are previous groups that I've run. I run new live group programs every few months. I have a high-level mastermind. I have a lower cost membership for the year. I host in-person retreats. So I do a lot of pretty much do it all. I have a handful of private clients. I really want to help women at all stages of their journey who are trying to figure out who am I and what do I want? And again, how do I actually, because I'm a big believer, in a lot of the like spiritual things and mindset. And there's a lot of incredible people and coaches out there. But I often find a lot of that fails to take into account, or at least doesn't address directly, like how do we actually do this while I need to get dinner on the table every night and actually make things happen. And this is great if I could, go and sit on a rock and meditate for hours, but like I got shit to do and kids screaming. Like, so I really try to bring in the practical with this more like spiritual and intentional things, because we do have stuff to get done. We do have lives to live, and we can't just abandon our laundry to go figure out our meaning and our purpose, but we do have to figure that out. So I really try to meet women where they are and help them incorporate it in a way that actually works with their actual lives.
Yeah, I love it. Retreats, you said retreats. Can you tell us a bit more about that, what that would look like?
Yeah, so last year was the first year I started hosting in-person retreats, primarily for my existing clients that I was already working with or that I had worked with. And we went to 3 different locations. The first one was in Paradise Valley, Arizona. Then we went to Rosemary Beach, Florida, and last in Chicago. And I rented out a luxury house. It was a combination of play and coaching and kind of self-discovery. I think it's really hard for us to hear ourselves and know ourselves in our patterns, in our routines, in our, again, the laundry and the kids and all those things are often, it's hard to break free of that. So I like to think of my retreats as this little bit of a sabbatical from your life where I pick you up out of all your things and I kind of plop you into this new location where there are women that you may know from the groups if you work closely, but essentially are not people you actually know in your real life. And there's a real beauty in being given the freedom to say, if I'm not worried about what people think, if I'm not worried about my kids watching me, if I'm not worried about my husband wondering what time I'm going to get home, if I'm not worried about all of these things, who am I actually? What would I eat? How would I dress? What would I talk about? How late would I sleep in? Like, we think we have this for so much freedom of choice, but most of us don't even have the freedom to know what we want because there's so many other things competing for our time. So these retreats are a great way to kind of look at ourselves in a vacuum, like away, while also getting the break. And I plan everything, take care of everything, which most women are the planners and the doers. So to show up and be like, I got you, I'm going to spoil you for the next 3 days is also an interesting experience, because what happens is as we do this, shit comes up, like worthiness. Am I allowed? Guilt? My kids, I'm here having fun and my husband's at home with the kids. And like, so it also brings up a lot of our crap. And it's a really intensive way to kind of force some of these issues to the surface where we coach on them. We work through them. Sometimes we'll do little, I don't want to say challenges because it sounds like it's that sounds way too, like too much work. It's not like that, but we'll do things like let's put our phones away for the day, like let everybody know you're not available, and let's go and be in nature for a while, or let's go dancing. And if you're usually somebody who's not comfortable, maybe I push you to be a little more, get out of your comfort zone. So we kind of stretch and we find the edges of where we feel we're allowed to be, and then we kind of push a little past it in trying to get women to loosen up and have fun and let go of all the rules. So it's this fun combo of play and coaching and expansion and exploration and self-discovery with cocktails.
I love it. It's such a good way to do it, right? It's a safe, secure environment that you don't have to like jump into another one. You're just going slowly. You're with other people who are going through the same thing, so you can empathize. You can see that you're not alone. And the very beginning of that, like they come and then you're serving them, and they're used to serving everyone in their end.
Right.
Like, boom, they're confused right away, but it's done. It starts shedding layers, right?
Right. It is. It's funny to see like, even where they want to start like doing the dishes, or because usually we'll rent a house, and obviously I'm not going to sit there and slap everyone's hands, but there's this observation. So what I'll do is I'm always watching, just sort of like noticing and things, and then I'll bring up like just a small example. We were at in Rosemary Beach. We were at this incredible restaurant having lunch, and one of the girls was asking the server for something, and I forget how she said it, but she was like very, oh, I'm so sorry. Can I have that? Like when she ordered, she got really like apologetic, and the server left, and I said, I want to point out, did you notice that you said that? And she kind of was like, oh, no, I didn't even realize. And I was like, yeah, why did you say that? Or did you know you said that? And so just little things that I can kind of see in their daily, the way they move through the world, we can kind of bring to the light and talk about. So yeah, it's really fun. There's tons of little things that show up. A lot of the sisterhood wounds and feeling weird around other women and not knowing how to, be yourself and relax. So there's so much. It's incredible to see.
That's awesome. I'm thinking kind of to mix the two. You said dancing, and then when it's like the little girl before society told them, I just reminded my kids like dancing in the rain, and they're just so in the moment, and so they're
Uh-huh.
being right. And then the
Yeah.
adults are like, "You're gonna get sick. Get out of the rain." It's like, no. Did you
Yeah.
hear any of that?
Like as far as like just playing and dancing and all that,
I guess so. I
or
guess
being or doing.
being a part of it might be like
Yeah.
playing, like being a child, being childlike
Yeah.
in your approach, just to
Yeah.
change it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So we really focus on, so most of the women that I work with or that are drawn to me are kind of trapped in their masculine of doing, leading. They're just, they've become these hardworking in their masculine energy women, and they've really lost their connection to the feminine, which the feminine is the play, the free spirit. You know, if the masculine is plan for the weather, bring an umbrella, the feminine is dance in the rain. So it's the being, it's the what makes life worth living, it's the magic, it's the beauty, it's the intuition, it's the sisterhood, it's the community, it's all these things that ain't nobody got time for when we got to get shit done. So it's we very much work on stepping into the feminine power, which feels like a contradiction because the world tells us, you know, to be strong, be like a man, to have power, lead, to do all of these things. And we look at it through the masculine lens because we live in a primarily masculine patriarchal world. So to really flip the script and say, as a woman who identifies as a woman, our most of our power doesn't actually reside in our masculine. We exhaust ourselves when we play from that space. So what does it mean to have feminine power? What the heck does that mean for, again, a woman who lives in the real world and's got to get things done? What does that look like? How do I incorporate that in that very childlike, wondrous way that women are actually incredible at when we give ourselves permission to and stop looking at life through the checklist and the accomplishment and the sort of get things done mentality versus the pure pleasure of being alive. So we do bring a lot of that in, and that's often the hardest thing for women to do, is to let themselves enjoy themselves because it's not productive. It's not productive, right?
yeah, it's such a simple thing when you can see it, that if you move from your heart and you feel that
Yeah.
you're going to have a much better result. Yeah, obviously you need to think and do the mind thing sometimes, but you said
Well,
spirit.
that's really like,
Go ahead.
I mean, that's really the foundation of what I'm trying to like convince them of is, listen, we know how to get things done. We know how to work. No one's going to accuse us of just, you know, lazing around and doing nothing. We want to do things. But the problem is we don't know how to check in with our own knowing. We don't know what we really want. We don't know what we want to do. And so we're just kind of doing all of these things. And if we take the time first to know ourselves, to bring our intuition back online, to be able to our feminine superpowers, which are our feelings and our emotions, things we've been shamed out of for a lifetime. When we know how to start there, then we're gonna do, and we're gonna do big, and we're not afraid of hard work. But let's work on the things that matter. Let's work on the things that we love. Let's work in the ways that we love, not the ways of the world, which will be far more effective. You want to make a ton of, I want every woman that I work with to make a ton of money, to look great in a two-piece, to have a blast, this isn't about giving up the want of material things and success. It's about understanding that the way you're chasing them is sort of like a hamster wheel, and you're probably never going to get there. And if you do, you won't be able to keep it because you sold your soul to get there. Versus, let's do this work first. You still get to have that, but it's going to come way easier when it's something you actually want, when it's actually something that is a yes for you and you're doing it in a way that gives you life instead of taking it. So it's just flipping the kind of the order of things versus, instead of I'm going to do these things and then I'm worthy of feeling good and then I'll enjoy myself. It's like, no, you're worthy now. Feel good now. Trust yourself now. And that will bring the things. So we flip the story.
Yeah, it's all a vibration, right? You send out the
Right.
vibration of gratitude, or that you have it now, and the feeling, like what would it feel like to have whatever it is you want? Then you're feeling it right now, and your body doesn't know the difference. The easy one we always do is the lemon trick, right? You just close your eyes, cut a lemon, pick up a wedge, put it in your mouth. Your mouth starts watering, like every time. It doesn't matter. And the reason why is because your brain doesn't know the difference. So That's where it's like, instead of I'll be happy when, you want it to be like happy now, and then you'll send out that signal. Joe Dispenza says it the best. The thoughts are electric, so you send out that thought energy electrically, and then the feeling and emotions are magnetic, so you draw back what you want to you magnetically. You said,
Yeah, I love
you said spiritual and mindset seem to be two things. So can you talk about both of them, and even if you want to take one and then the other after that?
Well, so I think, mindset, I mean, that's a word we all hear, mindset work. And for me, it just means thinking about how you think, like being aware of the power of what you're thinking about, knowing that you are not your thoughts, but the observer of them. You can witness your thoughts. You can learn a lot from them. You can change them, and really being mindful of your mind to notice at first, just what am I thinking? What are the stories I'm telling? What is the program that I'm running on? So for me, mindfulness is just really being aware of this little chatterbox thing going on all the time and understanding how that affects everything. It affects how you feel. It affects what you do. It affects so much. And getting a handle on that, or at least beginning to observe it, can be, so incredibly powerful. So that's really the mindset piece, is how do we notice our thoughts, witness our thoughts, become the gentle observer of them, get curious about why do I think that, or why do I believe that? And really use them to start making intentional shifts to the way we think and approach the world.
Before you go to spiritual,
Okay.
With mindset, just what are some books that might help people? Because I saw your books and I'm like, yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Oh, I feel like whenever anyone asks me for books, I completely forget everyone. On mindset specifically, well, I love everything Abraham Hicks, Ask and It Is Given, Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now. There's a really great podcast series with Oprah and Eckhart where they just talk about it in the most like kind of dumbed down way, which is super helpful. I love everything by Marianne Williamson. I mean, just there's so many out there. I think that, just like literally the simplest thing is to, if you can recognize that you are not your thoughts. So I'm not a big meditator. I totally believe in the power of it. It just never has been my thing. But I do think every person should attempt to meditate for 2 to 3 minutes a day, if nothing else, to notice that you are the witnesser of your thoughts. It will really show you the separation between you and the noise in your brain. And it becomes very obvious when you attempt to silence those thoughts that they are often just floating around, right? So I think that is the best way to begin to really mindfulness, and then just paying attention. What am I thinking? What are these stories I'm telling? I like journaling not because journaling is magical, but it's a tool to start teaching us to pay attention. If we're going to reflect on it and we're going to start capturing, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? It just forces us to get in the habit of really going inward and paying attention. So I like using journaling as just a tool to teach that. And again, same with meditation in the teeniest capacity. Just start there.
Yeah, I love it.
What are your favorite mindset books?
When you're talking right there, I was hearing, like, just watching the conversation and detaching. I just finished an awesome book called Living Untethered, The Human Predicament, which is a book 3 from Michael Singer. And
I love Michael Singer.
Yeah, you reminded me of the untethered soul, right?
I love untethered soul. Have you read the Surrender Experiment? That one I like even more.
I not only read this Surrender Experiment, I started implementing it in my life. Insane. About 5 years ago, we moved to this place and they have a pond and there's like 4 acres and trees and just magic.
Oh.
And so we moved like January 20th. So the pond was frozen. And so for the first couple of weeks, I just stood on the pond like in awe, right? And then I was listening to that book around that time. And I'm like, how can I get all these properties? That's what I was thinking, right? And since then, we've ended up with 2 of them touching. So we have like 4 acres. Yeah, we got 9 acres there and another one over there. It's like, whoa.
So another one that I am like kind of obsessed with right now is, I need to look up the name of it because I'm going to totally blank, because every time I go, it's super, it's called The Dream and the Journey, Eternity and God. This is definitely more the spirituality, but it's with Mike. Are you familiar with Mike Dooley?
Mike, just for that,
It's Mike Dooley, who wrote
The universe talks.
Universal, right? The Leveraging the Universe by Mike Julie. So this is him and someone else who is essentially channeling answers. It's phenomenal. It's out there for sure, but definitely more in the spiritual side. But yeah, I love it. Can't get enough of all these spiritual mindset books. Yeah, they're so fun.
Yeah, The Secret. He was in The Secret too, right? Mike Julie.
Yeah, I think he might have been. Yeah.
Yeah. When you ask me about mindset, the book is called Mindset by Carol Dweck, and it's just close to me because I had a fixed mindset for most of my life.
Oh,
I didn't even know. Like, I didn't know there was anything else. I thought everyone does the same and that's it, right? And then I learned about a growth mindset. It's like, oh wow. Now with like magic wand, what can we create?
You know what's cool is like my kid, I think it was my daughter last year, came home with this poster they made in school about growth mindset. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, this is amazing. They're teaching you that you can be growth oriented. And complete side note, I do think having a growth mindset, or at least acquiring one, is probably the most important thing for anyone, definitely for any people trying to enter into like a relationship or a partnership or maybe even a friendship. Like, not being able to grow together, I just think is so, we have to, we can't stagnate it.
Yeah. Resilience.
All of our pain comes from not growing, because it's either you're growing or you're resisting growth. You're growing or you're dying, essentially. Like, it's one or the other. You're not going forward. You're kind of just rotting. And I think we have to be chasing some form of growth always.
Yeah, for sure. It's like a plant, right? You don't feed the plant, you don't water it, care for it.
Right.
Help the plant expand, it won't
hang out for so long before it starts decomposing, and we've got to really, absolutely.
I don't really like the word ironic, but ironically, when I asked you about the mindset books, you said Eckhart Tolle, Marianne Williamson. I those. Oh, okay. I didn't know if you had other ones. Go ahead.
I probably do. I feel like I mean, I definitely have entered this door more through the spiritual lens. Not on purpose, kind of by accident, because I definitely wouldn't have considered myself. I'm like, I was raised Catholic. I believed in God, and then I grew up and you kind of get it like practical, and I just didn't know where that really fit. And I had these differences of like, well, that doesn't make sense, and that doesn't make sense, and I don't know how I reconcile these things. And kind of my invitation back into this world was Marianne Williamson's Return to Love, which I do believe when the student is ready, the teacher appears. When you're looking for things, even if you don't know you are, and you're open, you will receive it. And that book for me was this perfect bridging of the gap between the idea of the sort of dogmatic religion that I knew and the idea of the laws of the universe and the law of attraction and spirituality. And it kind of allowed me to see them as not conflicting things, just different languages for the same thing. And that was so exciting for me, because I kind of thought I had to pick, like, oh, I can either believe in this law of attraction woo-woo stuff that feels really exciting and liberating and powerful, but then I'm not ready to throw all of this religion stuff out the window. Like, how do we? So that for me just opened this door of curiosity and hunger, and it all kind of evolved from there, I think.
Yeah. No, I'm the same. I'm looking at a book over there, Everyday Grace by Marianne Williamson, and it's the same idea. And even that one I told you I just read with Michael Singer, he takes the science all the way from the stars, the universe, Big Bang, and he takes like the Bible and he's like, this is what it's saying. It's not disagreeing. It's actually proving it, which is like.
Right. I love that. To me, the most exciting thing is when you can see, because again, I consider myself a very practical person, like of the world, in the world, but yet I'm also of the stardust and the twinkles and all of these things. And so when you see the things that you're like, oh, religion and history and science and spirituality, how they're all just different languages and we're all just trying to make sense of all of this stuff and how it comes together and where we fit in all of it. And we can take a little bit from here and a little bit from there. And I do think every person has a bit of a native language, so to speak, that lets them understand life better. So some people, maybe that science is the way that they really like, that language of it just connects with them. And I think other people, it's more spiritual. And, there's there's not a right or wrong way, but it's about, and this to me is where spirituality, my take on spirituality and in regards to my work and the women that I work with is I'm not here to tell anyone what to believe or think, but I'm here. I do believe we have to believe in something bigger, energy, nature, I don't care what you call it, but to help them make sense of how these things fit together for them. How do I make sense of the soul and the spirit and the practical and how do I come to a place where I feel like I've got it figured out as best as a human can? Because we can't trust, we can't surrender, we can't let go, we can't have faith if we don't have a foundation. And that foundation for so many practical, successful people doesn't exist because it's not presented in a way that feels tangible or concrete. And so we kind of disregard it. And it becomes the lack of it becomes the missing piece to the next chapter, right? So we get to a point in our lives where we have all of the material things and the outward success and we have everything that, like, the great on paper life, I call it, but like something is missing. And that is usually the part of the next chapter is, okay, we got to go deeper, babe. We got to go deeper and we got to look at this stuff that maybe we got to look at that religious wounding that caused you to close that door, but there's other good stuff. So it's figuring out what that is for each. And I think each individual person's going to look at it differently. And that's great. But it's that personal, spiritual, deeper relationship with the divine.
Yeah, that's really well articulated. And this is an important one for anyone listening. Like, if you think money is going to make you happy, it's not. If you think the car, the girl, the wife, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I heard this one quote. I'm going to get it wrong, but it's something like, people spend their entire life trying to make money and they give up their health in order to do it. And then they get the money and they have to spend it trying to get their health back.
Yeah. That's
so like, health is totally
and I feel like, I've been through several iterations of this. I think I'm finally learning because I'm kind of a slow learner in that I'm stubbornly clinging to what I think works until I'm forced to let it go. But I've had multiple times in my life where I had everything I thought I wanted. It's like, I'm here. Oh, wait, this is not what I thought. This doesn't feel as good as I thought. I just love, as Glennon Doyle said, it was supposed to be more beautiful than this. And so many of us are we're following the checklist and we have that mentality where if I just do the things I'm supposed to do, I'll be rewarded. It's the worthiness piece of like, well, I have to make the money. I have to have the relationship. I have to do this. I have to do all these things. And then once I do, it's this idea of like, then I'll be good enough. And it's like, no one can give you that. We are trying to earn and take and do that which can only be received. We cannot get that. It's not possible. But we don't know how to receive. We don't know how to be. And so we're never going to get it. We're never going to get what we're chasing. Ever, ever, ever. It's not out there.
So now this goes right back around to mindset, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess the mindset has to shift somehow. And so go ahead.
Yeah. So the mindset has to shift in, we have to view the world completely inverted, which essentially the world teaches us directly and indirectly, do the right things in the right way, work hard over time, and you will achieve certain outcomes. And those outcomes will give you feelings, right? We only ever want anything because how we think we will feel when we have them. So if I earn the status, if I earn the money, if I earn the job, if I get there, then I'm going to feel all these great things, right? If I have millions of dollars and this beautiful lover and this wonderful house, I'm going to feel successful. I'm going to feel powerful. I'm going to feel happy. I'm going to feel all these things. So the mindset program is suffer, struggle, work hard, sacrifice for the future outcome. Right. This is like the quintessential puritanical work ethic of this country that it's been founded on. Is like, you just work hard enough, anything can be yours. Which, by the way, makes for a very efficient society and a very miserable person. So we do all the things we're supposed to. That's the mindset. So when our voice comes in and says, I'm tired, or I don't want to do this, or this doesn't feel good, we talk ourselves out of that by saying, but it's going to be worth it, or this is what I have to do, or this is what it takes, or if you want things others have, you have to do things they won't, right? So our mind is really good at kicking our own ass into doing things we don't really want to do, that probably aren't aligned, that our soul is screaming at us to stop, and our mind is good at overriding that. So the flip is I believe in meeting people where they are, which is essentially like, tell me what to do. Well, it's not about doing, it's about being, but how do we be? Okay, so this is, we got to flip it and say, if you chase outcomes to feel something, you're now putting the doing as the priority. What if, let's just try this on for size. Let's kind of tiptoe into this so our brain doesn't freak out and go into fear because it doesn't like new things. What if we prioritized how we want to feel first, how we want to feel in the journey? What if the journey was the destination, right? Cliche, because it's true. And it's often not, it's definitely a hard sell, right? So it's something we kind of ease into. And it's around, I build out this whole logical case of, if you get everything that you want, there's no guarantee you're going to feel better. So let's say I want to feel sexy and powerful and good in my body. When I tell myself, and society tells me, well, that I need to drop 20 pounds, I need to look a certain way, I need all of this external thing to give me that. So I do it. I eat chicken and kale. I work out 2 hours a day. I don't drink. I'm hungry. I'm cranky. I do what I'm supposed to do because it's going to be worth it, right? And then I get there and I have this I look incredible, but I still don't have a great relationship with my body and I don't feel sexy. I still see my flaws. I still see the things that aren't good enough. So I have the external result, but I don't actually feel the way I thought it would feel. There's no guarantee. But if we change the mindset of the strategy and we shift our mind to say, it's about that feeling. I want to feel sexy and powerful and good in my body. I want to feel good about myself. If I make the feeling first the priority, then that actually becomes a strategy. It's now, do I feel good when I eat a tub of ice cream in one sitting? Not necessarily. So this isn't about self-indulgence or just doing whatever we want. It's about creating a different relationship with the journey and knowing that if that's the most important thing, now we have to change the way we talk to ourselves. We have to change the way, and this is where the feminine piece comes in, of our instincts, our wisdom, the way our emotions and our feelings are guiding us, the internal guidance system. I'd say it's life by a compass, not by a map. Path to success is a map, right? Do this, do this, do this to get there. A compass is, I'm feeling this, I pivot a little, I notice that, I pivot a little. We're just micro calibrations all the way home, forever and ever, amen. And it's not destination based, it's journey based, right? So when we see the solution differently, we have to train our mind to support us. And when our body says, I'm tired, we don't talk ourselves out of it. We listen and we trust and we have a relationship with ourselves that is much more respectful. And this is a lot of work. And this is a new way. So there's a lot of fear and doubt. And so building up a mind to support us in that is where the mindset piece comes in.
Magical. There's something called a whoop strap, and you tie it around your hand, ankle, and like, let's say you're running and you have a training program to follow, and you have to force that run on that day because that's what the training says. Kind of what you're saying.
Yep.
The whoop strap will tell you, like, look, if you run, today's not a good day to run. Your body, it knows, right? And so even you're trying to force it because that's what the schedule says. The whoop strap tells you, no. You're going to hurt yourself if you do this today. Rest today and just go back at it tomorrow.
Well, and that's the wisdom piece. Like we've been so trained out of our wisdom, especially as women. It's like, I couldn't possibly know better. I couldn't possibly know what's best for me. Who am I to know that today I need to rest and I can make that up later? Like, we don't And one of the big smackdowns that I give women is they say, well, if I just did whatever I wanted, if I listened to myself, then I would just sit on the couch all day while the laundry piled up and I would get fat and nothing would get done. And it's like, do you think you're so untrustworthy that you would just destroy your entire life if left to your own devices? You have bought into the bullshit so much that you think that you can't be trusted. Yeah, you might do that for a weekend because you need a break, but you want to do your laundry or get the laundry done. You want to feed your family. You actually want to feel good. You want to move your body. You want the same thing you thought you had to punish yourself into. You just need to trust that you will do it in a way that maybe looks different than the world says, but is ultimately still fantastic, if not absolutely better. But we don't trust ourselves. And that's such a huge part of this is we have to trust ourselves and we don't. So we work a lot on self-trust.
Love it. As we begin to wind down, if this episode resonates with you, please like, subscribe, share, but no hard sell, and reach out to Emilie. Obviously, you can tell by this conversation, she's really passionate, focused on mindset, and helping you get what you want. It all starts with getting rid of those limiting beliefs that you were rewarded for as you were younger for abandoning yourself and learning how to bring your intuition back online. And I have a few more questions, but one of them I love is, it's fun because we get to play right now. And the question is that this is the Phase 4 podcast, and Phase 4 in the 6-phase meditation by Vishen Lakhiani is all about creating your future 3 years out. So where is Emilie 3 years from today?
Well, I am still in the throes of motherhood. I will have a kid in college by then, and which is mind blowing. And so I'll still be doing all the mom things and family life, but hopefully I have my cabin in the woods somewhere, which is on my bucket list, and more time to go there and travel and get away from the craziness and being in nature and just traveling more, working with more women. Maybe I'll start my book. I want to be speaking on stages. That's on my vision board, and just spreading this further and farther and having more fun, even more fun, because I have a pretty fun time. Just loving life. That's more goodness.
I do love that. When you said cabin, you reminded me something I meant to say earlier about the retreats, right? You hear all the time, like how a writer, they get blocked in their own environment and they rent a cabin to go write that book. And that's what sometimes all it's needed is just to switch the environment.
Change the scenery. And we can do this in small ways. I love solo travel. I think every woman needs to do it. I love leaving my children at home and going far away, but even just working from a coffee shop or, going to the beach for the day or whatever's near you, just putting yourself in the way of beauty as an intentional practice will create a beautiful life. So go find the things that make you feel connected to yourself and God and the world in a way that you probably don't in your busy day-to-day.
Yeah. And to add to that, like if you're doing the same thing over and over again and you don't feel good, you're not liking it, it's part of it is just a habit that you just keep repeating, right? So little things like going in the grocery store and going left instead of right, or
Absolutely.
just switch it up, go somewhere different, look at a different thing. When you're driving the normal way home from work, go a different way. All these little things will start to make new circuits, which is growth.
Yeah, it's massive. The way that just the tiniest pattern interrupts can have ripple effects in all other areas of ways you would have never even imagined. Like, it's mind-blowing. I love that. Totally agree.
2 more questions. The quote that just came to mind when you said that is a Viktor Frankl quote. It says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space, we have the power to choose our response. In our response lies our freedom and our growth and freedom. But yeah, just love it. You reminded me of it. And so before I ask my final question, I kind of just let the guests take it wherever they want. If you have something to sell, sell it. If you want to talk about your business more, go ahead. If you have a message of hope or just something that you want to share, anything you want.
Well, I just want women, especially people too, but women especially to know that you can be trusted, that you are not crazy, that you're waking up and you're realizing a lot of the things you've believed were never designed for you to win. And there is a better way, but you have to have the courage to break away from what you've always known and done. And you have to be willing to see things differently. And you have to be willing to trust yourself and bet on yourself. So just if you're feeling that, like that feeling like, why isn't this more beautiful? Or what's wrong with me? Or why am I should be grateful, or this should be enough. We should all over ourselves. If that's what you're feeling, trust that you are not wrong. You are not a greedy asshole. You are not selfish. You are not a bad mother or woman or wife. You are waking up, and you need to listen, because that within, that's your intuition. That's your, I call her your inner guidess. She is trying to show you a better way, and you need to pay attention. She's got something to say, and it's long overdue. So that's my, please, that's my public service announcement for women everywhere. And yeah, just come hang out with me on Instagram and my Facebook group. Just come get a little closer. I have tons of free content, videos. I do a weekly masterclass in my Facebook group where I talk about whatever I feel like that week. I have courses and self-study things and all kinds of stuff, but mostly just come hang out and get closer, and feel free to DM me with questions or reach out about anything that you want to learn more about.
Amazing. My final question is, how can people reach you?
So my Instagram is EmilieKarun.coaching. That's where I hang out the most. Also, my website, EmilieKarun.com, has links to all the other things, programs, and my Facebook group and everything. So come on over, grab a freebie, get on my email list, and come closer.
Amazing. Emilie, I'm grateful for your time today. Thank you so much. This was awesome.
This was really fun. Thank you for having me.